week, and it's always a really neat thing to do. I was able to go to a couple of different schools and read to the students, and it was nice because, you know, we hadn't been able to do that for a while because of the restrictions with COVID. So it was really nice to be able to actually be there. I mean, the years before we still did it, but we did it through Zoom. And so it was nice to be there with the students and watch their eyes as you're reading, and you know, just enjoy them as you know, in live instead of over the Zoom. So that's always was a pleasure. And just because February is done with doesn't mean that you can't continue to go read to the students. So if you have a chance, you know, call the librarian at the schools that you want to go to and let them know that you'd like to go and read to the students, because they love it. The teachers love it. And so if you have a chance, continue the Love of Reading Week, because we need to continue that always. Thank you.
Mr. Taylor?
Yeah, I just want to wish everyone, I don't think we'll see each other until after spring break, so I want to wish everyone a safe spring break, whether you're going to, you know, in-state or out-of-state or out of the country. You know, just be safe, and keep in mind that COVID is still around and it still exists, and besides that, just stay safe. We'd love to see you come back after that. Thank you.
I just want to say congratulations to all the strong women in this room. Happy International Women's Day.
No, not.
Thank you.
And there's a lot to congratulate this month. One very exciting thing that I'd like to just recognize our school leadership is the work that our school leadership is doing, like Mr. Castellum and Mr. Holmes, in building partnerships with our universities and community colleges. And we look forward to seeing everyone back when they come from spring break. And that's it. Superintendent's report.
Thank you, President Hernandez, members of the Governing Board, members of the audience. Start a little bit of celebrations. I'd like to celebrate first with recognizing our SARCEF award winners. The SARCEF Regional Science and Engineering Fair received around 2,000 projects for the competition this year. I'm proud to share that Lawford Middle School and Sunnyside High School students are the recipients of 16 SARCEF-sponsored awards after participating in the fair this weekend. I'd like to congratulate Lina Gutierrez, Maribel Robles, Nayeli Guzman, Dante Escobar, Ali Hernandez Jr., Lena Lapierre, and for winning the Cox Conserves Award that recognizes clean energy, environmental conservation, and sustainability community design projects. So that's a big award. Also, congratulations to Elias Elonache, Tao Medieros, Alexander Mura, and for winning the best integration of science, technology, engineering, and math excellence in the scientific research. Ms. Jackie Nichols was also recognized with the Educator Advocate of Science and Engineering Award as well. I would also like to congratulate the Sunnyside High School team, which congratulations to Adriana Castro, Kay O'Haven, Ramon Martinez Celaya, who won a sponsored award from the Pima County Community College for their project, Victor Vigbador, and Joan Valenzuela, who won second place in the Health and Biomedical Science category for their project. The Advanced Bioscience students won first place in the Microbiology category for their class project entitled Antibiotic Activity in Soil Bacteria. Pretty long, huh? Good stuff. Yatsira Durazo won first place and 7 sponsored awards in the Physics category for her project. Yatsira was also selected to present in the International Science Fair and ICEF in Atlanta. Ms. Cindy Buhanda was also awarded the Teacher Award at the fair, so congratulations to Ms. Buhanda and all of her students. Congratulations to Lawford and Sunnyside High School for representing well at the Science Fair. I'd like to congratulate district champs. Congratulations to the wrestling team of Challenger Middle School for claiming the title of district champions last week. Congratulations, Challenger Middle School. I think there's our coaches up there. Thank you. And then lastly, just Desert View DECA Shines. DECA prepares emerging leaders and entrepreneurs in marketing, finance, hospitality, and management in high schools, and I'm proud to share that we have an award-winning DECA team at Desert View High School. At this year's DECA State Career Development Conference, students earned several awards. Congratulations to Marisa Partida for winning 3rd place in her competition. Alfredo Alguiar was recognized as one of the top 10% scorers in the testing element of the competition. And Desert View's DECA was recognized as a Thrive Level chapter, which earns them 2 spots at Nationals for leadership training. Also, Ms. Terry Bible, Sunnyside High School former DECA advisor, was presented the Honorary Life Award. Last but not least, our CT Director, NJ Utter, was recognized as Arizona's DECA's Administrator of the Year. So congratulations to them as well. That concludes our superintendent's report.
And Ms. Fatima, I believe, is here.
The certificate
Yep, okay.
is in your folder.
Yep, so if everyone can join me.
I got it. Cool. The Sunnyside Unified School District Governing Board would like to congratulate Fatima Al-Osaimi. Did I say that correct? Very close. Very close? Okay. Would like to congratulate you for earning your National Board certification. This outstanding achievement deserves recognition, and the governing board applauds you for your accomplishment. And the National Board Certification is the highest certificate an educator can achieve in the United States. It's administered by the National Board for Professional Teaching Standards. Board certification is rigorous and a very reflective process that requires teachers to showcase the National Board standards in their practice. Teachers can often take up to 3 years of continual work to achieve certification. We are so proud to have an additional nationally board certified teacher making a significant impact on the lives of our students every day. So thank you.
We have a certificate for
Congratulations. Would you like to say something?
Of course, sure. I just want to say I'm very honored to work in this district. You guys are doing amazing things, and I'm just very blessed to be a part of that. So thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
I wasn't in a dress. Thank you guys. I appreciate it so much.
So now we have call to the audience. As a reminder, consideration and discussion of comments and concerns from the public. Those wishing to address the governing board on items on or not on tonight's agenda may do so at this time. Speakers are requested to hold their comments to 3 minutes in accordance to Arizona Open Meeting Law. Board members may not respond, comment, or ask questions of speakers regarding issues not on the agenda. And with that, we can start with Ms. Schrader. Ms. Schrader?
Good evening, Superintendent Holmes, governing board members, and everybody in attendance. My name is Tori Schroeder. I teach at Desert View High School, and I currently serve as the president of the Sunnyside Education Association. I'm here to share thoughts from our site representatives and other employees on masks and the new CDC guidance. Employees are not 100% in agreement, but I wouldn't expect that in a district this size at this moment. Some are confident in the new CDC guidelines and our much lowered COVID numbers, that allowing masks to be an option makes sense. They also note that medical grade masks that protect the wearer are more available than they were even 6 months ago. Others express concern with the increased potential for spreading, since the close contact distance increases when individuals are unmasked. They also note that our concern is not only with general public health, but also with keeping each individual child healthy enough to attend school. Many people with opinions on both sides expressed less anxiety with masking or not masking versus months or even several weeks ago. I would not be doing my job if I did not communicate all of these thoughts to you in as fair and unbiased a manner as possible. I'm not here to ask you to vote a certain way regarding masks, with one possible exception. If you do vote to make masks optional in Sunnyside schools, we would ask that you do so in a way that continues to follow CDC guidance, public health guidance, if our county COVID numbers were to increase again. Nobody wants COVID cases to go back up for any reason, and we have a lot of promising data to suggest that for the foreseeable future, they won't. However, if they do, students, families, and employees would all benefit from a masking policy that is clear, that is based in sound public health and science, and that is predictably responsive to the situation in our county and our community. Thank you.
Mr. De La Rosa. Mr. De La Rosa.
Good evening, Board. I am here just in favor of making masks optional. I'm not against masks, but I do believe that it has hurt our children, having the contact with the teachers, having the expressions on their face, knowing that when they do good, when they do bad, really can't know by the eyes only. As I can see with you guys, you're shaking your head, but you know, it doesn't really mean anything to the children if you just go, yes, no, you know. So knowing that the mask mandate is optional, but it's still on the table, and any parent that wants to protect their children can send them with a mask, I think that that would be the best option for us right now. We do see that the numbers have gone down. We do see that the trend is going down, and as recently as I believe it was last Friday or early Monday, the CDC did put the county down in the intermediate or yellow level, so that gives us an even greater hope that we're doing in the right direction. So I would ask that you guys really do look at it and make it make it optional. Thank you.
Ann Rose. Ann Rose.
Good evening to everyone. My name is Ann Rose Deshaw. I reside up in Midtown Tucson. I'm here tonight as a concerned citizen. I'm deeply troubled by how the children in the United States have been treated in the last 2 years. But I understand that all of us, we the American people, with a subset here in this room, sustained a traumatic psychological attack with lies and propaganda sustained over the last 2 years. Divide and conquer tactics were very effective against us, with fear-mongering from federal public health figures, threats of job loss, forced masks and injections, keeping children out of school and isolated. I am sure you have by now seen studies about wearing masks. Aside from the negative physical effects and ineffectiveness, the psychological effects alone on children were very concerning and are. Last month, the American Academy of Pediatrics published their revised developmental milestones, including specifically for toddlers, delaying 2 developmental milestones by over 1 year. Now, why is that necessary? Was it the damage to the little ones from looking at masked people during a critical time in their development? What about school-aged children, students here in Sunnyside? Was there damage done? Will you investigate to find out if your policies, as dictated by federal, state, and county public health officials, affected the children's development? As we now move on, children unmasked perhaps, as COVID is normalized, and we the people need to be aware that we were bamboozled and it will happen again. We must remember that to always do as we're told by the government does not serve us well. That's what the Nazis said when they were on trial for crimes against humanity, that they were just doing what they were told. What harm has been inflicted on the children and all of us by just doing what we are told? For the sake of the children, moving forward, please listen to the concerns of the parents and grandparents when their children are the subjects, and not act like a hardened arm of authoritarianism. This is not the way in a free society, and I thank you for listening.
I can't understand handwriting. Sav or Sale? Tamasale, Tamasave. Yes. Did you spell it? T-A-M-A. Or C-M. Okay. So T-M-A.
Hello. Good evening, everybody. Here I am again. Sorry that you see me again. So as we all know, that it's never about health or community or children, as you keep mentioned in the past 7 months. It's all about ESSER fund amount over $5 million that you guys, Sunnyside, have received with the condition of follow the COVID hope policy by masking the children, put fear on everyone by using tactic of weekly tests, even they don't have any symptom. Segregate children or staff who do not vaccinate, that they need to be out or absent in case of their close contact. Again, even they don't have any symptom. Or otherwise, they need to take a test to stay. What kind of scientific that you guys follow? What is working well for you? Because I remember, I'm seeing those spike number of positive COVID during December and January. It was a flu season that happening every single year except 2020 because all fall positive of PCR tests that made flu disappear. Do you know how many hours per day that children have been on mask? At least 7 hours a day, 4 days a week. And luckily on short day, they only keep it 5 hours on that short day. That estimate over 924 hours. Since August 20, Mr. Superintendent decided we will maintain healthy community by wearing a mask. So any of this that sit right here, I ask you, any of you guys wearing masks all day long period of time like the kid at school? Have you? You have, okay? Because the kid in school, the teacher, the support staff, instead of they do their job, they turn themselves to be a police mask. Hey, you, put the mask on, cover your nose. Instead of learning, what do? Only thing they were thinking, just worry about masks. Is that the way that you're supposed to raise your next generation? I had informed you in the past 2 meetings that you are in violation of several state, federal, and international law. You put fear to everyone that how this virus could do harm to them or loved one. You practice medical without the license to promote and guide them to get the shot that neither you nor anyone else know the long-term side effect. Have you seen 9 pages of adverse events from the shots that you promoting?
Time is up, thank you.
Okay, they are
Travis Sharon.
1,291.
Travis Sharon.
Okay,
Thank
you are serving.
Travis Sharon, thank
Yes,
you.
thank you, and you are serving
Travis
today.
Sharon, thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, members of the board. Thank you for hearing me today. Last time I was here, I talked about critical consciousness theory that describes itself as a virus and a alchemy of words. But today I'm going to talk about masks. When I came in today, I told the security that I had a medical and religious exemption for a mask. That was ignored. I feel like that's a surprising lack of compassion, but it is what it is. Some really great points brought up by the other speakers today. When a child, a toddler, or a young person can't see a mouth, that is a significant part of learning language. So we're effectively retarding the progress of our students in the name of an unproven health measure. And the last time I was here and talked about masks, I mentioned the size of viruses, that it says on the box that it doesn't protect against viruses. The studies that I've read, and I do have a degree in a scientific field, so I understand reading scientific literature. They do not have an effect if they are cloth, and N95 masks have a very minor influence. We're talking like 20%. And who knows how accurate that is, but that is the data that I've read. So I don't see why these concerns raised by parents that have been raised in the past have not been looked into. Because if you are not looking into the concerns raised by parents, you're effectively defending this mask mandate with religious fervor. You are doing what the government tells you to do, what the health authorities tell you to do, with religious fervor. And I mean, that's like crazy blasphemy if any of you are Christians. But it's just crazy, and that is the reason that we are serving you with legal documents to address the issue today. Thank you all very much for hearing me. I appreciate what you do, and have a good day, and God bless.
Moving on to consent agenda, can I get a motion to approve the consent agenda as submitted?
I move that we approve the consent agenda as submitted.
I second the motion.
Roll call.
Ms. Dong?
Yes.
Mr. Taylor?
Aye.
Ms. Quintero?
Aye.
Ms. Nunez?
Aye.
Ms. Hernandez?
Aye. General functions, the first one, we're starting with CDC guidelines, right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
We'll go ahead and start with the
Yep, so
CC.
at this time, I would like to make a motion to reorder the general functions items to bring CDC guidelines for measuring COVID community levels and parallel learners as the first 2 orders of business.
I second the motion.
Roll call.
Ms. Dong?
Yes.
Mr. Taylor?
Aye.
Ms. Quintero?
Aye.
Ms. Nunez?
Aye.
Ms. Hernandez?
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay. I'd like to start off by just letting the governing board know, I know that it's been echoed today in many of the discussions as well, that our Centers for Disease Control released new guidelines right prior, that Wednesday prior to our rodeo break, that really gave us some new data points, right? They moved away from kind of the way that we're looking at transmission levels to what they're calling now community level transmission. That's the guidance that has been adopted now by our Pima County Health Department. But it's really broken down now into 3 major categories. These are them up here in the top, which is new COVID, Admissions, percent of beds occupied, total new COVID cases. Those are the three variables now that are used to determine what community spread, and it's broken down by county and levels as well. The data on new cases acts as an early warning, is kind of how they've been phrasing that as well. And basically now you're seeing three levels of low, medium, and high. And that's kind of how CDC is now offering guidance along with Pima County Health Department to school districts in terms of decisions that we make around mitigation efforts. If I can go to the next. So there is a chart that's published, as one of the gentlemen, parents spoke today. On Friday morning, we went to medium community transmission. And you can check kind of in real time how that transmission actually moves, right? And there's the map of the United States, and if you hover on that, actually our county, you'll see that we're currently in medium. Specifically, when you get into the mitigation efforts that are associated, if you can just scroll and you can see how that takes you into an enhanced view, and then you can scroll and we'll see that the whole state pretty much is in medium outside of the Yuma kind of area to the west of us. But if you can scroll up on the chart to the, I'm sorry, Mr. Baca, to just those areas right there, the spreads really dictate, bottom line is when we're in medium, and there's other details here, but so that we can engage in some discussion here, it really dictates in more detail when universal masking should be in place, and that really is only in the red category. One of the things that I've done consistently, I can't believe it's been 2 years, right? It's been, I remember during sitting there in spring break, trying to contact all the board members, right? Because there's so many changes happening. One of my commitments has and continues to be to follow the CDC guidelines as we make decisions moving forward. It is in that spirit that I come to the governing board with the new recommendation to make masks optional, for us to consider that for a vote. I really feel that we're in that place where we're following not only the guidelines, but our cases have drastically dropped. It is highly likely that our county will be in the green by either this Friday or next Friday, which gives some reassurance. It should hopefully gives reassurance to the governing board kind of where we're at around the decisions that we need to make. But is in that spirit of continuing to follow these guidelines that I continue to recommend. What the CDC has recommended is that we go mask optional in our school district, and I'll leave it up to our discussion to our governing board.
It's open for discussion, Ms. Sandia. It's open for discussion. Does anyone have anything? Okay, Ms. Dung.
Yeah, first of all, I'm really glad that we had an opportunity to hear from SEA and all the teachers, and Tori, and thank you for coming and letting us know and being completely honest that it's not 100% anywhere, one way or the other, that people all want it this way or all want it that way. But it seemed like you guys had a little bit of a compromise, is that that if we don't go to the mask, but that you guys would like it that if things changed and everything went red again, that we would also think about, going back to the mask. And that was an interesting and I think a good concept, because we want to make sure that we don't know what's going to happen in 2 months or 2 weeks. This virus has really thrown us. It has not been anything that has followed any rules or regulations or anything. It's just doing what it wants to do, and we're seeming like we're going to not have it anymore. And then all of a sudden we've got a new variant that's even more contagious than the last. So I think when we do think about what we're going to be doing moving forward, that we also have to remember that we might need to do something as far as our motion that will include the possibility of it, unfortunately, perhaps getting worse again. Something that none of us want. We all want it to be over with. None of us enjoy wearing masks. We don't enjoy it, but it is something that many people out in the community have come and asked and wanted. And besides the looking at the CDC, we've been following that. and following the guidance to try to ensure that our staff and our students are all staying as healthy as possible, because this virus is no joke. We've known too many people in this community that we have lost, icons that we have lost to the virus. And we know too many people that have gotten it and have become long-term COVID people that they're going to be for their entire life still suffering from the effects of COVID. So we've all been very cautious, I feel. You know, they say that, it's best to sometimes err in the, in doing more than, what's that saying? Err in the side of conscience, yeah. And I think that's probably, a good way to discuss what we've done, what we've been following for the last 2 years. Following the guidelines, because this is so new to everybody. And, hearing from teachers, not just at the call of the audience, but, hearing from teachers as we go to classrooms or as we go to different functions. And the parents, when I'm out at the parks and doing different functions, hearing from them about how concerned they are with what's going on in the schools and how grateful they are that we have been doing the mask, even though they hate the mask themselves and their children and their grandchildren hate the mask, but still being grateful that we have had this in place because they feel that it has protected their children and grandchildren. But I think that now is a time that we can start to feel a little bit more comfortable with doing some changes here and continuing to follow the CDC guidelines of having masks as being something that's optional. But like SCA, like Tori was saying, I think it'd be something that behooves us to make sure that in our motion we still protect our children and our staff by making a statement saying that if it goes back into the red, then we go ahead and return back to the mask as much as we hate it. But we need to, continue to do what we've been doing. And I think we've been doing a great job because, you're hearing what goes on in some of these other places, in some of these other districts, and how they're closing down the entire district or closing down entire classes, schools or classrooms. And we haven't had the drastic, closing down that others have. So I think that if, we continue to do what we're doing for the sake of our students and for the sake of our staff, that's the way to go.
Ms. Quintero.
I agree that we follow CDC guidelines. We have been following them for the last 2 years, and then some prior, because I was. But I think if we put in the motion that we follow CDC guidelines, everything goes optional unless we go to red, then we go back to mandate.
Ms. Nunez.
Just coming from kind of like a parent perspective, because my son is in the district and I am on a campus every single day picking him up and dropping him off. I understand. It's so hard being a parent and deciding like what's right, what's wrong, what do we do, how do we take care of our kids, all these things always changing. So I think it's important that we give people the option and are following that guideline, because I know how hard it is personally to do that, especially with a 5-year-old. So I just wanted to kind of piggyback on that with experience and also saying that I agree, that if it is changing and things like that, then we can adjust.
Mr. Taylor.
Ms. Nunez and I came onto the board in like a very weird time in the world, and Ms. Dong, Ms. Hernandez, and Ms. Quintero had already been dealing with this for a year before we came on, and so coming onto the board during COVID was a really strange experience, and it continues to be a strange experience. There's been a notion nationwide by, some of the community that school boards, people in elected office, get a sense of pleasure or authority from mandating masks, and that's just simply not true. I don't. In fact, it makes me really sad, and I'm very happy today that we're at a point now where we can have this discussion. Yesterday, Arizona reported 0 new cases of COVID, and that's such a wonderful, beautiful thing, and we might be looking at the light at the end of the tunnel finally. So I'm very proud of this district and its commitment to following CDC guidelines. And now that we're in the yellow, projected to go into the green, I'm very, very glad that we can have this discussion and hopefully make masks optional. So that's where I'm at.
I think for the most part, the people who've been keeping up with what's going on, and I'll piggyback off of what, just echo some of what has been said. Our district has tried our best to do what we can to follow all CDC guidelines. We've done everything possible. We changed our air quality system. We invested a lot of money in that. We have invested money also in making sure that there's masks available everywhere to our staff and students. We made sure to space out as much as possible, but we're in a public school. We can only do what we can. And it's been a pretty difficult 2 years, and even though it may seem easy, but making decisions on behalf of everyone, I personally don't take pleasure out of it. It actually makes me feel sick to know that we have so much responsibility, and I feel so much responsibility for not only our students, but also our staff and our community, because our students and staff, a lot of them live in our district, most of them live in our district, so they're not just showing up to school, they're coming back into our communities. Most of them come from multi-generational homes, which was a big concern of mine from the beginning. And because we've been following CDC guidelines, I feel still uneasy, but more comfortable with knowing that we're almost projected to be in the green. We'll still have masks available at all of our schools if you choose to do so. But it is a difficult decision, and it's not something that any of us take pleasure from. And I think it was mentioned, and I probably share this concern with a lot of people in this room, if we do get to a point, and I'm speaking on behalf of myself, I feel like if we do get to a point where we go back into the red, then we do have to come back to the table, and that's just the reality that we're in. And if you have been living, you know that things change very quickly. So if everyone obviously is understanding of that, and I hope that you're understanding of that we're doing the best we can. And I personally have had friends die over COVID, so I don't take this very lightly. And I also study global health, so obviously I see things from a different perspective, and I take them very seriously. But Mr. Holmes has been in frequent conversations with our county health department. All of us are following what the CDC is doing. We've been doing that since day one, and that's all I have to say. I don't know, Mr. Taylor.
President Quintero, unless it is a discussion.
Is there anything else that needs to be said?
I'll just add, as we're making a motion, our total active cases right now in our district are 8 with students, and 2 adults. There's significant data that I just want to make sure there's much more home-based that I think is important to know as well.
Yeah, and one thing that I just want to make sure that I bring up is we also brought in the pool testing that has been available. It is optional. It's not forced on anyone. You're welcome to take part of that if you choose and feel comfortable to do that. I personally encourage you to mask. That's just a personal decision. If you would like to do that, if you want to take part in the pool testing, that's a resource that's available that we've been trying to promote so people know about it. We're not forcing it on anyone. We're also just want to make sure that I give credit to the district leadership as well as we've been doing the best we can to continue to build relationships with our county health department to bring the vaccine, even though we're not talking about vaccines, I just want to make sure everyone knows what we're doing. Vaccine sites in our community to make them more accessible for our people. Everyone who lives or is a student in our district, just because I feel like accessibility is a really big hurdle for a lot of our families, especially if you're working. We want to make sure that you have that accessible. We're going to continue to do that. And that's just one of the many things that we're doing. So if you are in this room or listening, not pushing vaccines on anyone. They are clearly effective. Science says so. But they are available, and on our website, Ms. Felix has been doing a great job of keeping our website updated so you know what events are going on if you choose to let people know or attend them yourself. That's it.
Go ahead, Ms.
And I'll let you do the second. I just want to say, we want to make sure that in the motion we include when we're going to do this, but also we've all been talking about the fact that when if it turns red, then that will change. So let's just make sure that that's all clear for all of our staff.
I want to add one thing. I watched a governing board meeting from a school district in Virginia from last night, and they had voted on lifting the mask mandate in accordance with CDC guidance. There was a moment where the room and the people in the room stood up and yelled, "Got you," or this is not a "I got you" moment. This is a moment where we're doing what's best for our community. So with that, I am very happy to move that that we approve the superintendent's recommendation to make mask wearing optional for our students and staff immediately after spring break, with the caveat that if we do go back into the red, that we will come back to the table and discuss this further.
Clarify, that date is March 21st.
21st? Okay, March 21st. Can I get a second?
Second.
Roll call. Wait, did someone say second? Okay.
Yeah.
Ms. Dong?
Yes.
Mr. Taylor?
Aye.
Ms. Quintero?
Aye.
Ms. Nunez?
Aye.
Ms. Hernandez?
Aye.
Motion passes.
Next item on the agenda, parallel learners.
Right. All righty. Good evening. Hello, Board President Hernandez, board members, Superintendent Holmes, and people of the audience. I'm Dr. Williams, and I'm just here to do a really quick announcement to introduce this group of fantastic people we have in our district. I know many of you know both Kate Street and Barb McDonald and all the hard work that they've done to really grow our parallel learners programs. We've talked about it a little bit in past presentations, and so tonight they have a wonderful presentation prepared for you, and some great insight from parents, staff, and students. So I'm going to hand it over to them.
Thank you. Well, hello everyone. It's good to be back, isn't it? It's good to see some familiar faces and welcome some new ones. And then even Hector, that's good. See, I got you. Well, we're here to talk about our parallel learning program. And so we're just going to introduce a few people, but before we do that, Tadeo, you want to bring in the quote that we have, inclusion?
Inclusion is not bringing people into what already exists. It is making a new space, a better space for everyone. By George Day.
We've brought a few friends with us, some teachers, parents, parallel learners, to kind of enrich and supplement what we have to say. So, we have, do you want to wait, or should we?
No, you can introduce.
Okay. We have our teacher, Raj Gideon, Swapna Gideon, Howard Zamal, and where is Megan? There's Megan Paelli. Teachers. We have Rui Hernandez, our speech therapist. We have parent Laura Jackie and Rosa Carrasco. And then we have some parallel learners. We'll get to you. We have some parallel learners, Giselle, Mungari, Aram, Navarro, and Eisen Serrano. And of course, we have Tadeo, that everybody knows.
Alan Tadeo Ballesteros. There you go. So we've presented about parallel learning to the board before, but this is a new board for us, a lot of new people. So we just wanted to take a few minutes to let you know about our program. It's a class that we started about 5 years ago, I think officially 4 years ago, with the help of Mr. Holmes. And the intention was to create a more inclusive school community. And we have really felt successful in that. We've seen it change our school. And so what it is it's a class where students are allowed to pick it as an elective. It's a pass or fail class. And they sign up to go as a partner, a parallel learner, with a student who's traditionally been in a self-contained classroom. So we sign them up for that, and then we match them in partners, and we train them to work with individuals with special needs. And then those students go together in a partnership to general ed classrooms across the campus. We also have another smaller 1 period a day. It's called Library Buddies. It's part of parallel learning, where we keep all the parallel learners for that period in the library with us. And we invite the self-contained classrooms to come once. Each classroom comes once per week. They each have a day. And that's more of a social hour. We get to play games and interact, and we've got some teachers here that are going to tell you about that. Let's see. Students are trained before they go out. They're trained in communication. They're trained with educational psychology and advocacy skills. So we have our speech language pathologist that helps us train in communication, and that's always really helpful. Our school psychologists help us train with educational psychology. And then we do a lot of advocacy with our students. So I put up a thing here, who benefits from parallel learning? And really, I said the parallel learners, both members of that partnership, all students in the school, and all general ed teachers who have these partnerships in their classrooms, and the special education teachers. We all benefit from parallel learning. This is our first parallel learner partnership. It was our pilot. We had a student named Evie, and we were just trying it out, and so we found another student and we partnered them up, and this was about 5 years ago. And they took a class together, Spanish. And it was really amazing because Evie, before she had a partner, she was in the class for a whole semester, and she did not do very well. Once she got a parallel learner partner that could help her navigate the class with the teacher, she ended up starting to do presentations for the class, and she really excelled. And the teacher loved it. So we've had other we don't have any gen ed teachers here with us today, but I wanted to share that all of the gen ed teachers that we work with, they have nothing but wonderful things to say about it. It really helps them to provide service to all the students in the class. But they also find that it really enriches their entire classroom environment. It makes it more diverse, and it gives all the students in the class an opportunity to see that we're all trying our best, right? So I won't read that. Yes. So these are just some pictures of what happens in a classroom. And now we'd like to invite some of our special education teachers to give their perspective on the program. So, Mr. Howard Slamal first.
Okay. Real short. Howard Slamal, special ed teacher, Sunnyside High School. You already know who I am. Okay. So, we've got a couple of big activities that we do in the class. Carpentry and cooking. Of course, many other things we do. We get that Readtopia and stuff like that. But carpentry and cooking, this is where we really get to involve those parallel learners. And we need their influence, because how do you teach the students safely how to use a stove without blowing the kitchen sky high? And second, more importantly, how to chop vegetables without having to pick up the phone and report an incident. Your son or daughter got this big cut. So they assist in a lot of things to teach the students how to chop vegetables safely, how to use the stove safely, prepare food safely. And with carpentry, they help with everything from measurement, marking the lumber, even calculating how much is to purchase the lumber. My God, don't get me a start on that. So what I'm thinking also is and then how to safely use a saw. At least the hand saws, power saws, it's usually me doing that, okay? But with the hammers and the nails, students are able to handle that, plus the electric drills, thanks to 2 drills donated by Robin Mori. Also kitchen equipment donated by Rui Hernandez. So I want to thank everybody for this opportunity, and thank you for the parallel learners. They help in this regard a lot.
And the parallel learners learn, because a lot, believe me, it's not just the special needs kids. Parallel learners have no idea what a saw looks like, what a drill looks like, even to you turn the stove on this way, etc. So it's a mutual learning.
Thank you, honorable board members. Thank you, my colleagues and parents. Thank you for this opportunity. Every week, our class goes to the library. We have parallel learners. All throughout the day, I'm autism teacher. My name is Raj Gideon, sorry. And all throughout the day, they're in the class, right? But every week when we go to the library, they feel so happy, and more so, the parallel learners interact. So I would like to give 3 perspectives. Coming from the students' perspective, students really enjoy, because parallel learners are just like their seniors, and the wavelength certainly matches. Coming from the perspective of the parallel learners, they're getting a newer experience to teach. Tomorrow they may decide that they want to become teachers, and this is a good foundation for them. And coming from the teacher's perspective, it's a happy environment. There's a cross-learning. Today, the agenda is that we are going to have peer learning, and this is going to be a good setup for peer learning. Thank you so much.
Yes, I'm Swapna Gideon, and thank you for giving me this opportunity. So coming to the parallel learner program, so this I have been seeing, this is my 4th year, so I've been seeing this program for last 4 years. This is my, first year with the MOID students. I'm in cross-categorical class. So as the students are completely self-contained, so they are like, they don't get much exposure to the outer world. So we do calendar every day in the morning. So they just wait for the Friday when we have the, the library session. And when we are just putting the flashcard of Friday, my students, all of them are so excited because they want to go to the library, have fun with the other, students, and they interact so well, and they are really very much excited, and they look forward for the class. So yeah, this is a very nice program that we have, and as teachers we are really blessed. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Megan Piley. I teach the MD classroom at Sunnyside High School. The thing I really enjoy about the Parallel Learners program, I've been a part of it now for about 4 years, is the students that participate in it. We have very caring and talented and smart students that choose to participate in this program, and we're very blessed and very lucky because they bring a perspective into our classrooms that sometimes even us as adults can kind of miss over. It's also very inspiring to see that some of them may want to become a teacher or some sort of like profession where they are helping people with disabilities. Something we fail to realize a lot is that our students can't advocate for themselves in a lot of ways. So even if this program doesn't produce a lot of like teachers or mentors in that sense, it does inspire people to look at someone with a disability differently and to maybe consider a person that really inspires them when they're voting, when they're, making decisions for our community. So I really appreciate this program, and I want to say thank you to Kate and Barb too. Half of the battle is showing up, and they show up every year to make the program better, so we thank them. And thank you guys for having us speak at this event tonight.
And we have our speech language pathologist. Did you want to? Okay.
Good evening. I'm Maria Hernandez, and I'm the speech language pathologist at Sunnyside High, and it has been an honor and a pleasure to be a part of the Parallel Learners program this year. Kate and Barb have put in an extensive amount of time, consideration, and compassion into growing, maintaining, and making this program thrive. And a big piece of that is making sure that the parallel learners have the training and support that they need in order to effectively support our students with special education needs. And a big piece of that was making sure that they have an opportunity to understand more about communication and supporting communication devices to make sure that our students are able to participate, access, and engage in the classroom setting. And so I just want to highlight how much time and just thought that they've put into this. I think that when we have an idea, it's very easy to get excited about and wanting to implement it immediately. And they have done it, but they have taken the time and consideration to really think about what is needed to do so effectively. Mm-hmm.
Second quote. This is your second quote. No, not that.
Regardless of how good of a swim instructor you are, you can teach a person to swim in the parking lot of a swimming pool. By Norman Kung.
We also brought some parallel learners with us today to share just if they feel like sharing anything. Do you guys have anything? You don't have to speak. Tadeo will, so he will do it for us. Do you have anything you want to say, or I can read these reflections as well?
Well, I would like to say something that these students, what's beautiful about this program is that it's not departmentalized or put into a section. Anybody from any program or CTE component can join. And it never fails to see the talent that comes out. People don't know what you have until you let them try something. Eisen has worked with a class in English, and he is the most consistent, kind person that you'd ever want to meet. We switched him over to a one-on-one situation recently, and he embraces it. And it's a very caring atmosphere. Aram is amazing, and we'll show you a video of Aram and Charles in a few minutes, and this is his mom here. And Giselle the same way. She sits in a class, Mexican American Studies, with a student, and the teacher is remarkable working. And the class has realized that no matter what is going on and how some students will act out, that's the way they are to feel comfortable, etc., that they have become accepting of this student, and it's become a beautiful situation. And these are just the tip of the iceberg.
If any of you would like to share, I would love to hear from one of you. You don't have to, but I would love to. I think that. I think all of us.
So I've never danced with anyone, but me and Charles are in Flocorico, so we danced together, and everyone in that classroom the first time we performed, it was in December, and everyone was just saying like, I don't know how to explain it, like, congratulations, and then everyone was just happy. They're like, oh, go for it, and everyone was just happy. And also, like, when he goes back to class, because I have to bring him back, he's always saying, like, see you tomorrow. And then he's always, like, we're always learning new steps. And I'm also, because I've never danced before, so it's really, I learned in that class. We learned together, so yeah. That's very special. Thank you.
Would you like to do that? I'm not forcing you, but I'll help you.
No one's forcing you.
I'm in Charles's, I'm his parallel learner for his 5th period, and it's Mexican American Studies. And it's super cool because we both learned the history of Mexican American Studies, and it's cool to see Charles like understand what we're learning. Like, we'll go back in time of like where things come from, the origin of stories. And Charles gets really into it, and it's super cool to see him like be passionate about those things. And at first, it was definitely difficult because we were going to this new class. Students were confused on like what's going on, but after having him for like 2 semesters, the whole class really learned to love Charles. So every time we'll go in and he'll be having like difficulties, and another student will like jump in, and they'll be really kind to Charles and explain to him like what's going on, and just like great communication between him and the other classmates. So it's really cool to like see him like talk to other people, and that's something that I say that I definitely learned from him, because it's cool to see how he interacts with others, and it was really exciting to know that he knew who I was as a person. So knowing that he knew who I was, and like it was really close. Like, I went to actually the concert she was speaking of, and like I was really excited for him. Like, seeing someone I helped out throughout the semester, it really brought me, like, I felt really close to him, and it was just really a great experience to work with him.
Thank you. Do you want to say a couple words?
I have worked with Charles for like a few days, but so far he seems pretty excited to be in his film and TV class, which is really amazing. He's pretty good at his work, honestly. He knows how to work the camera, and pretty much he knows what he wants to film, and he just helps me out with the editing most of the time. Thank you.
We also have Charles's mom here today, Laura. She was going to say a couple words.
Hi, my name's Laura Hawkes. My son Charles is from Sunnyside, and this program has really helped transition what he's learning at school with patience and resilience to the house, to our home. As also with when I take him out in the community. For example, I didn't have to, but we had a concert to attend, and he went with me, and he was so patient, and he was really into the concert, which I was very surprised, because usually I would not be able to take him to a concert. He would be not wanting to be there, but he showed such patience to be part of the concert, be watching the musicians, be watching the people who were singing, and I contribute this to the learning he has helped, that the parallel learners have taught him in this program. It's just a phenomenal program for his transition to his next phase of transitioning to adult job follow-up. I don't remember what it's called, but he'll be following up with learning job skills next year and more life skills, and this program is just phenomenal for that, and for the learners, I imagine, as well.
So since we had Charles's mom coming, and Charles is one of the first, besides Tadeo, and he'll get to speak in a minute, but Charles is one of the first students who's from a self-contained classroom that's going out most of the day. So he has about 4 parallel learners. So this is, Airam, when they first joined Folklorico, she sent Charles's mom this video of them learning the steps. It's very short, but I don't know how to make it play. So let's see. With this, oh, there we go. I got it. I don't think there's sound with this one. And then they were able to perform at Fiesta Navidena at Christmas. And so I did not create the whole video, but let's just, you got it? Thank you. Let me see if I can, once more about Charles, we've known him for about 5 years, and to imagine when we went to watch him in that performance, we were terrified because he had to wait for about 2 hours before he went on. And I was just like, what is happening? How is, I thought they'd put him on at the beginning, that just knowing Charles for when he was younger, it was very difficult for him to wait and be patient. And so he spent the entire time before the concert, Idam tells us, talking with all the other dancers and them wishing him luck, and it was a great experience for us to see that. Now, Tadeo is also in our parallel learning program, and he had a few words to say as well. Oh, where is Rosa? Because wasn't Rosa going to speak?
She's still out there. You want to
It's all right.
Check and see why he places.
Yeah. Mr. Zomo, we'll go get her. Okay, you ready? Is it loud enough?
My name is Tadeo Vaz-Terros. When I started at Sunnyside High School as a freshman, I only had one classroom and I was in it all day with the same students. Then my class started to go to the library for a parallel learner group class during 6th period. I could only stay for a few minutes because my bus left early. I was sad that I always missed this fun class. I loved it when I could stay longer on Wednesdays because of the block schedule. In the summer, I told my mom I wanted to take band. When school started, I asked Miss McDonald for a parallel learner. I also asked Dr. Williams to help me get the bus changed so I could come for first period and stay until school ended. I started taking an avid class during 6th period. I loved it, so I asked for more classes. In my sophomore year, I got to take band, English, biology, algebra, and ed. I even got to be in marching band because Dr. Williams got me transportation and Ms. Street went with me to the performances. Since then, I have taken many classes with the help from my parallel learners. It took a long time, but now I'm close to graduating. After this year, I only need a few more credits. I will graduate with my diploma in May 2023. I'm thankful for my mom Rosa, my sister Karen, Ms. Street, Ms. McDonald, Dr. Williams, and all of my parallel learners over the years. They helped me to take the classes I wanted and to work towards my diploma.
And lastly, Marie is a student that is in my senior English class. She's in there for socialization and other things. But Maria's been participating in a general education class. As part of the assignment, she and her group made paper cranes with their hopes written on them to hang in the library. Marie's hope, I hope to take more classes next year. And that's what we want to do in this program, is to continue getting students in those classes. Thank you.
We'd like to give a special thank you to Superintendent Steve Holmes and Dr. Lila Williams for believing in and supporting our program for these years.
I don't know if anyone has any comments. I can start just very quickly. I just want to say thank you to everyone who showed up tonight. I know that you've all presented here in the past before, but to hear the perspectives from a student, parents who was a parallel learner, and vice versa, I think that's pretty incredible. I'm so excited about this program when I first heard about it from Ms. McDonald, just because every interaction, and this is repetitive for all y'all, but seeing it from my point of view, every interaction that you're having with our students, whether it's your staff, you're leading the classroom, or you're joining some of our students to be a parallel learner, those students will take with them in the real world, and they'll remember them. So whether it's learning how to socialize, or learning how to dance, or whatever it is, those are things that they'll never forget, and it just shows how much, as was already said, how much compassion and kindness that you show to other people, and I'm so grateful for all of you, and that's all I have to say. So thank you, everyone.
I also want to thank you for all of your work, because it's amazing, and I am so grateful, and you made me cry again, and it's so touching. It's so amazing. And what do you need from us?
We just want to keep the program going for as long as possible.
I need a contract. Seriously.
Are you ever taking this to middle school? Is this just strictly high school?
We would love to, yes. I think some are already, it's already sort of in the works, and COVID happened.
Oh, yeah.
So we had a really glorious yay inclusion moment, and it was in March. And we had meetings with parents about this is what's going to be happening, and then we had a dance for inclusion that month. And then 2 days later, we went into lockdown, so it was pretty difficult for that year. But we were able to maintain parallel learning even over when we were doing online learning. It was very hard. Ms. McDonald did most of it, and where she organized all these chats and meets and everything. So we did the best that we could. So yes, we would love for this to grow, for sure.
Thank you.
I said that was the last thing, but I actually was a student for Miss McDonald. I was Miss McDonald's student. She was my English teacher and HOSA as well. She's probably one of the most persistent people I've ever met. She made me apply to a program that I feel like helped me get to where I am today. So I know that you're bringing that same energy and commitment to what you're doing now, and I'm just so grateful to see you that you're still with us, and I'm very appreciative. And can you remind me, is this at both high schools?
We're just at Sunnyside.
Sunnyside, okay.
I'm just very moved and so grateful that we have all of you, because you can just see how much your professions are just shining through, and how passionate you are for these students. And I know it's not always easy, but it's so special, and I'm just so proud to be in a community that it just thrives so strong in this area. My grandma was at Sunnyside for 35 years.
Yes, who was your grandma?
Celia Rivera.
Oh,
I was going to come talk to you after. Nini. So I grew up in the Sunnyside special ed room my whole life, and I just thank you, and it's just so emotional.
Well, what is amazing is you don't know what's going to happen until you make it happen. You can't just say, let's keep them in this room, because we know how. When they're with their peers, they learn so much and so do the peers. It's a beautiful exchange.
Love it. Thank you so much for working with our students. Like they're your own. And
yeah.
Having a son, you know, that has an IEP and is on the spectrum, it just makes me feel so special that I know that there's all of you that will be there for him. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, I just want to, reiterate, thank you very much for being here tonight, coming, out of your homes this evening and presenting to us this fantastic program. I think that the Parallel Learner is one of the best things that we have ever voted on and approved and seen to, the fruition here of what's been going on. I know there's a little bump in the road with COVID, but look at, what you have accomplished, past COVID. You guys have done a fantastic job because of your commitment to the program and the commitment to and believing, as we have all, are believing here, believing in the program. You guys have come a long way. Thank you for bringing the parents. It's so important to have the parents' voice here, also as well as the students' voice. I'm really glad to have all the students here and presenting also, so we can hear from them, how great this program is and how much, it has touched their lives. So thank you once again. And like we stated earlier from Mrs. Quintero, let us know what you need so that we can, make sure that you have it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Taylor.
Yeah, I also want to thank you all for the work that you guys have done, putting this program together and building it to what it is now. I think it is so cool to see the Parallel Learners program come together with the Folklorico program and cross paths even for just a split second, because Folklorico is like the best therapy for your heart and soul, in my opinion. So to see Idam, right, and Charles dancing, I thought that was just so cool. And, I look forward to seeing what you guys come up with in the future. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Is there any? Okay.
They do wonderful. We talk a lot, and Tadeo, good job. I'll bug you tomorrow. Ladies, thank you very much for just all your help and support. It means a lot. Thank you again, wonderful parent. We've had different conversations. Welcome back. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you all so much.
We have the proposed insurance recommendation.
The Board of Trustees benefits.
Recruitment and retention.
You have a different?
I have recruitment and retention as the next one.
Insurance. That's what I had.
Are you sure you want to follow up that wonderful presentation with insurance? It's quite a change.
Come on, put on your dancing shoes. Come on.
I know.
Oh, they're there. We might as well.
Yeah, you're already here. You're fine.
Okay. It's difficult following up that presentation with employee insurance, but we will try our best. President Hernandez, members of the Governing Board, Superintendent Holmes, thank you all so much for having us here today, again, to talk with you about employee health insurance. As I said, it's a really difficult follow-up to that wonderful presentation, but we will try our best to entertain you with the employee benefits that we have for you. We also, I want to mention that we do have members of our fantastic benefits team in the audience today. We have Natalia Robinson, who's our wellness coordinator. You've met her before. And then we also have Amanda Schmick, and she's our benefits coordinator, and she's also in the audience today, just parts of our wonderful benefits team. Another part of our wonderful benefits team is Chris Cott. She is our CBiz account executive, and she'll be presenting to you today. And then any one of us can follow up with any questions that you might have. Thank you.
Thank you, Laura. Good evening, President Hernandez, Superintendent Holmes, members of the Governing Board. Again, Chris Cott, happy to be out here again. I think it's been about 8 years I've been working with the district, so maybe going on 9, because that's how old my daughter's turning. So good news tonight, so let me work this.
All right. Have the short agenda. There we go.
Just 10 little things.
All right. Just a recap of your insurance goals, through the years. As we went self-funded several years ago, we wanted to have, really a mission, which is to manage and mitigate your ongoing medical and pharmacy costs and increase the well-being of your employees in the district. And you all have been extremely successful. You've really achieved that and gone above and beyond faster than we thought you ever would, and that's fantastic. So great job to Mr. Holmes for saying, several years ago, we really need to go in this direction. Outrunning fully insured renewals was not the way to go. And to your great trustee board, really making good decisions throughout the years. You guys have done a great job. Sorry, guys. All right. This is just a kind of a quick recap that we've always been focusing on building those reserves. So again, the more reserves, you kind of keep it steady throughout the year, throughout the years. So the goal is to build 9 to 12 months of those reserves, which is anywhere from $5.5 million to about a little over $7 million. And into your 5th year, you have about $6 million in your reserves. So you've really achieved that goal, which again helps to mitigate the costs. We always know there's going to be a bad year around the corner, so we're not going to talk about it, but at some point that will happen. We have seen claims go up a little bit, and we'll talk about that briefly. But overall, you've continued to manage your plan really well, and you're performing excellent. We're always looking at those trend increases and trying to implement little pieces of savings here and there. So through the years, we've continued to add programs and plans to manage those costs. This year, you'll hear we're looking at the health savings contribution, just an overall contribution strategy, so what the employees are paying. So we took a close look at that this year, focusing on decision support tools. So we continue to offer that so employees can engage and understand what is their benefit, what are their options, what's the cost. So we have the tools available for them to walk through their benefits and choose the best plan for them, because they do have 3 options. Educate employees on their benefits and consumerism. So we're always hosting open enrollment meetings. They have breakout sessions, all kinds of opportunities for employees to engage. Engagement and well-being. As you know, Natalia's on your team now. There's been a lot of new initiatives within that group and offerings to not only employees that are on your benefits, but outside of that. So I'm sure you've heard about all of those great initiatives. So that's very exciting, and hopefully, again, translates into better claims as the years go on. And then, of course, continuing to work to manage those district contributions, looking at plan designs and utilization. This might take the longest part. Just a quick recap on your plan performance. So we have your actual claims versus your expected loss ratio. Just for the first 6 months, July to December, you're running just under 70%. For the prior plan year, you ran about 85, almost 86%. So you're running under what we're expecting. So that difference between what's expected is helping to build those reserves. Your loss ratio by plan, you'll see that high deductible health plan is running at 40%, so it runs very well. The PPO 1500 runs at 60%, and then your 750, that PPO 750 is the highest cost plan, lowest deductible, that's running at 136. So basically you're paying more than you're getting in for that plan. And then the per employee per month cost is broken down for each plan as well. So again, you can see that the high deductible plan costs under $300 per employee per month. The PPO 1500 a little higher, $376, and then again that PPO 750 is $743. But the district continues to offer that as a choice. But again, we're seeing most people enroll in the other 2 plans. And then just a quick snapshot on the right is your per employee per month history. Again, gives you that overall view of how this plan has been running over the last 5-6 years. That first box of $538.99 is your fully insured premium back in 16-17. And then as you go through the years, 530, 436, 470 to the projected 21-22 plan year, just under $500. I don't know of any other group that's trending basically far less than trend, which is usually about 8% every year. You're basically holding steady and your costs are less than they were 5-6 years ago. So again, great job. Continue doing what you're doing, and it's working out well for you. The next slide is just the plan performance, kind of what we went over, but so you can have a better visual. You have just under 60% enrolled on your high deductible plan, and 39% of the claims are being paid from that plan. It's about even on the 1500, so about 27% enrolled and 28% of the claims being paid from that plan. And then there is still 13% enrolled on the 750 plan, and that accounts for 28% of the claims being paid. Questions so far? All right, so here's the really good news, is that we are projecting about a 1% decrease, 1.3% decrease with no plan changes. So to break that down just as an annual cost, your current projected cost is about $7.7 million. We're projecting about $7.6 million for the next plan year, so about a $105,000 reduction. So in taking a look at that, what we wanted to do and try to take a look at your overall contribution strategy. When we first went from fully insured to self-funded, you had kind of an allotted amount per employee. But when you go self-funding, you have to change that strategy, and you're really looking at what are the employees paying versus what can the district pay. And so now that the district and the trust is running well and you're having the reserves, taking that $105,000, taking a look at the contribution structure and the percentages paid, we wanted to reallocate that savings back to the employees. And so really trying to align the percentages to give back to the employees and, you know, have a little bit more of a rhyme or reason to those percentage amounts is what we were aiming for this year. So this is the percentage breakdown. What is in the white boxes, gray boxes, is your current percentages, and then what we're moving, proposing that we move to. So on the high deductible 3,000, employees are paying 14%. It's going up very slightly to 15%. The employee plus spouse, 48 to 40%, so a decrease. Employee plus child, going from 43% that they're paying to 30%. So what you'll see across the board on the high deductible and the PPO plan is really reducing the cost for employees that cover children. That's been a long time goal for the district, and so really happy that we are able to provide some more savings for those plans. So going to 30%, and then again on the family cost going from 45% to 40%. So really taking a look at that 15% employee plus spouse and family going to a 40% that employees would pay, and child down to 30%. So again, trying to align those percentages. And then moving to the right, the 1,500, again, just a very small increase on the employee only, but then a reduction for your spouse and family, 70% for those two tiers, and then 50% for the employee plus child. And then the PPO 750 looks a little bit crazy. We know that costs a lot, and ultimately there's not a lot of contribution going towards that plan due to the cost. It is still an option for employees to choose from, but really we are steering employees to the other plans, and that's where they're going to see the most savings and keep the most in their paycheck or potentially build their savings. So again, continuing to offer those choices, and then I mentioned that there's still going to be the My Health Math tool available. And then here's the breakdown by plan, what it looks like out of an employee's paycheck. The slight increase, that 1% that you saw for the employees, equates to about $2.76 for an employee only. On the high deductible, $369 on the 1,500 and $1,160 on the 750. It was proposed, I guess, in a couple governing board sessions ago to absorb or offset those costs with ESSER funds. So ultimately, even though we are trying to align the percentages, that small increase is actually going to be picked up by the ESSER funds. So employees that are enrolled as employee only, they won't see any increase. Does that make sense? Okay, good. And the other really great thing that you all approved was an additional $500 to the health savings accounts. So currently the district contributes $500 a year to anyone that elects to participate in the high deductible plan. And for, we're communicating when the one time you get an additional $500. So that means next year, if anyone enrolls in that high deductible plan, they'll have $1,000 throughout the year that'll go into their health savings account, which is amazing. So any questions on that? And then just a reminder that these are the wellness costs for employees. So when people are participating, they get to pay the lower rates. It's a $25 difference if people choose not to participate, but we have seen quite an increase of people participating, so that's really good news.
Can you just expand a little bit on that for anyone who's listening? So what do you mean when you say $25 if we don't participate? Can you just elaborate?
So the fees that employees are paying are set based off of those percentages, and then if an employee participates, they'll get a reduction of $25.
And if they don't, it's $25.
Yeah, like we're starting. Let's say we're starting at 10. Let's say we're starting at 25, and then if they did participate, it would cost them $0. So they're you have still really strong benefits, but they get to have almost $525 savings a year by going to their doctor, getting their preventive care. There's been a lot of additional programs that are offered that, you know, for them to earn those 50 points throughout the year so they can save on their premium. So ultimately just trying to encourage them to do what hopefully they're doing anyways.
So just to be clear, so anyone who hasn't been keeping up, this is a change that you're bringing, it's already in effect.
This has been in place for 5 years.
5 years, the $25 per fee.
Yeah.
And how has that worked out for us? As far as like participation, how is that? Have you?
It's increased every year. The first, sorry, I don't have the numbers right with me, but I want to say the first year was probably about 12% participation, and I think we're up to 25 or 30%. Yep, 25 or 30% participation for the current year. So we're really seeing a big increase every year. And even with this being a really strange couple of years, I think last year it was kind of steady, but we have seen an increase for the most current year. And they have one more month. They have this month, the month of March, to continue to earn those points. So you've got a wellness committee that's now active, and they're sending out, you know, a lot of communications. Natalia's sending out communications to remind people, and we can definitely see an impact of that in the numbers, because we get monthly reporting of who's enrolling and how many activities they've done and how many points they've earned, and this has been the best year so far. So I wouldn't be surprised if we went closer to 35 or 40%.
That's great.
Yeah.
But we're at the end of the day, and I'm just talking out loud. So at the end of the day, we're still charging employees if they don't participate.
No, you're giving them a reduction if they do participate.
No, I know that. Sorry.
So it's just I guess it's how it's.
So I guess I'm not understanding then, because my question is, I'm just saying, we're at a 30% participation rate?
Probably about just over 30%.
In the wellness program, but whether they join or not, if they don't join, they're being charged $25 per pay period. Is that correct?
No.
It's like an incentive.
So I guess the wording is just, I didn't understand it. That's why I was asking questions. Okay.
Sorry. That's okay. That's okay. Hopefully I can provide some clarification. For these amounts that you see on the screen here, the $14.97, if somebody does not participate in the wellness program, then they would be charged an additional $25
Correct, that's what I was
per
saying.
pay period.
Okay,
Exactly.
So then we're on the
That's
same
correct. Yes, that is correct. Yes.
Okay,
Okay.
sorry. Any other questions?
Not for me.
Okay.
Do you have a question? Or anyone? No? Okay.
All right, I'm going to run through your dental and vision. More good news there. You did have an initial increase of almost 9% on the Delta. We were able to negotiate that down to 3%. So you'll see the impact on the next slide. There is no change to the Delta DHMO plan, which is one that they have to select a provider on, and then no increase to your vision plan. And so the difference on that 3% monthly is illustrated here. So anywhere from less than $1 to up to about $2, right around in that area. So good news there. And again, no change on your DHMO and no change on your vision. This was a year that we needed to go out to market for RFP for your medical, because again, you've been, and your life and voluntary benefits, because again, you've been with UMR now you're in your 5th year. So we did go out to market, and we had, we didn't have a lot of responses actually. UMR is your current third-party administrator. Magellan is your current pharmacy benefit manager. And then layered on top of that is Payer Matrix. They're a specialty pharmacy manager, and they're saving the district anywhere from in employees, about $800,000 to about $1 million a year is what we're seeing. So those 3 submitted responses, and then Blue Cross Blue Shield also submitted a response. Ultimately, the way that Blue Cross Blue Shield responded would not have been in the best interest of the district. They wouldn't have allowed the specialty carve out. They were going to retain your pharmacy rebates and just give you a discount, which would have ultimately cost the district about $1 million a year. So we did have a committee come together. We reviewed the responses, and they recommended moving forward with who you have in place now, UMR, Magellan, and Payer Matrix, as, again, they offered the lowest price and for what we saw, and there has not been, overall, it's been a very good relationship, and they've been providing good benefits to the district. Questions on the RFP? Okay, and then we also went out to market for your basic life. The district offers a basic life benefit for your employees, and then also the option for employees to enroll and select additional voluntary life insurance. So we received a response from 6 vendors: Mutual of Omaha, Oaks, Dearborn, American Fidelity, Colonial, and Aflac. And then we released best and final to Mutual of Omaha, Oaks, and Dearborn. Mutual of Omaha and Oaks scored the highest, but Mutual of Omaha, who you do have in place currently for your life and voluntary life, scored the highest, and that is who the committee recommended moving forward with. A couple of items that are part of the reasoning behind that is the pricing with Mutual of Omaha stayed the same. They also offered an additional option to move to a $50,000 benefit. Right now it's a flat $25,000. Budget-wise, that's something the district may want to consider in the future, is increasing from $25,000 to $50,000, but ultimately they didn't increase the cost. You would, if you ever decided to bump that amount up, you would just pay for that additional volume, and the numbers are reflected there. The other really nice part of the voluntary option that Mutual of Omaha offers, and that might be hard to see, but ultimately when you're with a carrier for a while, what happens with voluntary life is when new employees are hired, they have an opportunity to enroll in a guarantee issue amount. At that one-time enrollment, if they don't enroll, then at any time in the future and they want to participate or enroll in that voluntary coverage, they have to complete what's called evidence of insurability. And they have to be approved for that coverage, and they can be denied. And often if you're applying for it at a later time, there may be a reason why you're applying for it, and so you're often denied. So what we asked in the best and final is, would Mutual of Omaha, if they've retained your business, would they allow for employees that maybe waived that coverage in the past, or they took a lower amount because things change through the years? Would they allow a true open enrollment at this open enrollment so that people can elect up to $170,000 with no medical underwriting? And you currently had $150,000, so they bumped that up to $170,000. And then anyone that wants to enroll this next year, and we'll be promoting that with our materials and communications, is that they can enroll up to that $170,000. And sadly, because of the last 2 years and the losses, life insurance is something that is on people's mind. And so timely, not something it's fun to talk about, but it is a benefit for those families. Any questions? Yeah.
No, yeah, I'm just happy to hear about that. I mean, people decide not to enroll in life insurance for many reasons. I mean, I probably should at some point, even though I'm super young, right?
Yeah.
You know, so being able to offer that, you know, is really important, especially given the past 2 years.
It's something that you don't really think about until you need it and you don't have it.
Or until you got a pandemic.
Exactly. So we'll be doing a lot of education on that. And then finally, we have some voluntary benefits that Mutual of Omaha also offers: critical illness and accident. Those currently are with Colonial. Ultimately, if anyone would like to enroll in the Mutual of Omaha benefits, they're able to do so. If they would like to keep their Colonial benefits, they can just do so on a self-pay basis. And then moving into open enrollment, it will be from April 29th to May 13th, a 2-week enrollment period. We've talked about this the last couple of years. It is a positive enrollment, which means we need everyone to go in and elect their benefits. And more importantly this year, because of that life insurance coverage, we want to make sure people really understand that they can make that election and have that, education. But it is positive enrollment, so there's going to be all of those fun texts and robocalls and everything that's going to be going out. There's a nice strategy. We'll be having virtual fairs. We have the online open enrollment meetings and assistance meetings. We have electronic communication cards, videos, little 1 to 2 minute videos on all kinds of benefit options. And there is a new online enrollment system too that's going to be up and running, so we're excited for that.
I have a question on that.
Yeah.
Is it communication available in different languages?
Yes.
Okay.
Spanish.
I do have a question.
Yeah.
For the health and well-being program, is there like an enrollment period for that to participate?
Just not an enrollment period. You're talking about the to earn the incentive.
Yes.
Just from April? From April to March of 31st, so a year, but April to March.
Okay.
They have
cool.
to earn all of those points.
Okay, gotcha.
And that's something we talk about in the meetings as well, and it's in the communications.
Thank you.
Yep. And then just the final recommendations over everything I've reviewed.
Can I get a motion to approve the recommendations?
I'd like to make one quick comment before making the motion.
Sorry, yeah, go ahead.
I just want to thank you so much for the amount of money that the employees will have to spend now for their insurance, especially when they have children, and not, and for it to be, at the level that it is. Because many times, that's what really hurts us when we get that paycheck, is that insurance. And when, you have children, it just really bumps up so high and makes it very difficult for families to be, able to use, the money for other things, because they're spending it on insurance. and that takes a big chunk of their funds. So, you know, thank you for, you know, being diligent as a group and making sure that you guys are keeping an eye on everything and making sure you're bringing back, you know, everything as good as possible for our employees. I think this is a fantastic plan, and I'd like to go ahead and make the motion to approve the proposed insurance recommendations as presented to us.
Second.
Roll call.
Ms. Dong?
Yes.
Mr. Taylor?
Aye.
Ms. Quintero?
Aye.
Ms. Nunez?
Aye.
Ms. Hernandez?
Aye. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you all. Have a good evening.
And now we have recruitment and retention. Dr. Bergman and Mr. Antunes.
Good evening, President Hernandez, members of the board, Mr. Holmes. I'm going to bring forward to you some for the recruitment retention for the 22nd, 23rd school year. And this was put on the agenda in February, and then we had to make a hold for a good reason. You're all aware of that. And now we're bringing it back for your review and hopefully to move forward on them. In the first, oh good, it's up. Hey, you joined me, very good. What we're bringing forward first is a resigning incentive. And the signing incentive is in hopes of maintaining our current staff. And on February 28th, contracts were pushed out electronically to all our current employees. And hopefully with the approval of this incentive, we're going to see, I would like to see every one of them return. And so what the incentive does, if they sign their contract within that 15-day window that they have to review and ask questions and then decide to push that button that says, yes, I'm going to submit and return next year, they will receive a $1,000 stipend. And that $1,000 stipend will be paid to them in April. April's going to be a very profitable month for our employees because they've already had approved some 301 monies, the first paycheck, and we call April Fool's Day. They will receive a regular paycheck. Then they will receive another and then this one. And two of them being incentives, and then what they're going to be paid for. We did add a new bullet to this because as we were working through this process, people developed a perception that if you didn't get your contract on February 28th and you're a current employee, you wouldn't receive the incentive. Well, no. So we added another bullet that stipulated if you're a current employee and for whatever reason the contract was delayed because principals are still doing some shifting, they're looking at their numbers of how many teachers they can still retain, and then submitting those EPARs prior to when we have to submit the personnel agenda to you. So that bullet clarifies that if they're a current employee and they're hired between that window of time between now and June 30th, they will receive that incentive. We also want to retain our student teachers who have been with us as well as our Pathways. We are in our second cohort of Pathways teachers who are working through that program, and they are a wonderful group, and all 10 of them were issued contracts, and we would like them to see that incentive. The difference is they won't see it in April. They have to start working for us and have a contract for us before they can move on. Okay, you want to add anything?
The reason for that is that they're currently not district employees. They're doing their student teaching, so they're not on payroll. So as soon as they're offered a contract and they sign it within that 15-day window, then we will make sure that the first pay period of the new fiscal year when they start working, say in July during the new teacher orientation, right now we're scheduled to pay the new teachers for 3 days on the first pay period they get. Well, this will provide us an opportunity to add that $1,000 to the first 3-day paycheck, so it'll be more of a regular sized paycheck rather than just a 3-day paycheck, the first check they get.
Because as you remember, they do a 5-day new teacher orientation, and then that will be very nice for them.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, of those 5 days, 3 of them fall within that pay period, first pay period.
And then we go on to the recruitment retention. This year we had a recruitment retention incentive for, that was $1,500 that we offered all our employees if they retained and stayed with us throughout the school year. IBB discussed this and we looked at a lot of the numbers, and they would like to increase that to $3,000 for the 22-23 school year. With the stipulation that the first payment happens in December and the second payment happens at the end of their contract, just because of what we learned this year, you know, with the process.
And the same rules would apply in terms of calculating the dollar amounts. It'll be based on, you know, the full amount of 3,000 will be based on their contract. In other words, if I have a position that's a 189-day contract and I sign it for 189 days, then I would qualify for the full 3,000. If I'm a 12-month employee, which is a 260-day contract, I still qualify for the same amount, 3,000. Now, if a contract that I sign is less than the full-time equivalent for that position, say for instance, if I sign a 12-month contract, it's only 130 days, then I only qualify for half the 3,000. So the proration would be based on the FTE contract that was issued. So just like we did this past year.
Same thing. And just making sure we educate all of our employees on the what will happen if they choose to break their contract. So, and we've been trying to do that consistently over the last few years because we want to retain. It's not a plus for our students. Our students depend on their teachers coming in every day, just like we want them to come in every day. So, and then the last one, I'll do this one.
Go ahead, hard to fill.
Yeah, the last, whoops, I had it up. Is, why isn't it there? Yeah.
Hard to fill. Next.
No, sorry. Oh, the other way. It's not there, okay. I'm not sure why it's not there, but it's here on mine, and it was posted with that on there.
Yes, sir.
Before we go forward, I do have a question.
Sure.
For the retention stipend, the $3,000, that is for both classified and certified.
Correct, it's for all categories.
Food service.
Oh, yes.
Oh, okay.
Our food service.
employees.
Our food service employees,
Okay.
yes.
It'll
Okay,
apply to any district employee, okay, that is a district employee next year. for us,
Gotcha.
okay.
Okay, cool.
Even
Thank
new
you.
hires. In other words, if I'm a brand new teacher, that I sign a contract, say in July, I'm with the district this year, but I signed a contract in July, I'd qualify for the $3,000.
Oh, cool. Yeah, that's so minute to what we owe them, but I guess 3,000 is a good place to start.
It really is.
So,
It really is.
yeah.
And it was discussed in a very proactive manner with IBB, and they felt like it would just, you know, incentivize people to stay with us.
Stay here, yeah,
I
that's
mean, it's a
awesome.
great place to work, you know?
Yeah.
And basically, the funding source for all of these incentives is ESSER funds. We planned for it and budgeted for them for this year. ESSER funds run out, so basically, as far as I can see, this is the end of being able to expend ESSER funds for this purpose. I wish we had more, but
Yes.
unfortunately we do not. And the hard to fill positions.
The hard to fill positions, this is a new slide. And as you know, and I've talked to you about over the years that I have presented to you our vacancies, and our hard to fills are math, science, and SPED. And they have always been hard to fill. Districts just banter for these individuals. And a lot of districts already have bonuses that they offer hard to fill positions. And so this year in IBB, it was a very healthy, deep discussion that they decided we need to be part of that process to get those hard to fill individuals to come join the Sunnyside district. And I think they came up with a well thought out process because they wanted to see it happen over a 3-year period to help a new hire understand, learn our culture, fit in. So in the first year that they're hired, they would receive a $2,000 stipend. The second year would be a $1,000 stipend. And finally, at the end of year 3, they would receive a $2,000 stipend. It would total to $5,000 over a 3-year period but we really think it would benefit and help retain and attract the math and the science and the SPED, which is the LD resource. Is that what you're talking about?
Yes,
It's our LD resource.
What has been defined as hard to fill.
Yeah, and the self-contained classrooms, who really need their consistent teacher with them. You know, you just saw a whole group of them. I mean, you were really fortunate. Some of the, like Howard has been with us since he started teaching, and he's fabulous and very committed to his kids. So we would like to have that incentive and.
For new hires only.
Yeah, for new hires only, for this next year, and then be able to evaluate it and bring some information back to you on how it's working, and did it attract, and how they're moving through our system.
I have a question on that. Do we have any incentive for these hard-to-fill positions currently?
No.
Or this is totally...
This is the very first time we have brought any bonus incentives to the board.
Is there any questions?
And the funding source for the hard-to-fill signing bonus would be the funding source from whatever the position is being funded for. So for instance, if it's an M&O position, it'd be funded out of M&O. If it's a grant-funded position, it'd be paid out of the grant fund. So the funding source for the bonus would be the funding source of the position,
Okay.
not extra funds.
Questions?
I was just curious as to the thought process of having the 1,000 in the middle. And the two.
Well, you know what? They just decided, can we break up this 5,000? Let's put 2 in the front and 2 in the end, and in the middle will be the 1,000. They just felt it. They just, you know, the carrot to keep them because one more year, you know, 2,000. So it was just how they thought they should break it up.
Is there any other questions?
I had a question.
Sure.
And that one was one of them, because I was thinking the same.
How do we decide that? Yeah.
Yeah, and how, if it's only for the new hires only, how do the teachers that are already working, how do they feel about that?
You know,
They've already been-
we worked closely with SEA and because they're on IBB.
Right.
You know, they're on IBB and they represent the classroom teachers. I think because of what they have seen happen with our hard-to-fills and not being able, they were very supportive in moving forward with this. And I can only go by if SEA is going to help move this and communicate this to help fill those slots, the communication has to be there with them and talking with teachers about it.
So they don't get an incentive for staying?
No, it's only, they only wanted to focus on.
Only the 4,000 for signing the bonus.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. So they're
They
still
get
getting their
those,
incentives?
yes.
Okay,
Yeah,
all right. So
yeah.
this is strictly new
Yeah,
hires.
this is strictly for the new hires.
Okay. That
And
sounds
we'll
good.
see what happens the first year.
Yeah.
And this is not coming from Esther $3.
No.
Okay. Yeah, I
This-
was gonna say, didn't we?
No, this
There
won't
was
come
some
from
sort
Esther.
of rule, right, that we couldn't.
The ESSER funds basically can be utilized to address COVID. We've identified the issue that recruiting and retaining employees has been a problem for all employers nationwide, so that's where we're utilizing ESSER funds for that purpose.
Okay, gotcha. Thank you.
There's no, do you have any?
Yeah, so is it contingent on funds when they sign their contract?
We'll have to budget and plan for that those hard-to-fill positions from those areas, the funding source. If it's an M&O position, we'll have to pay for that signing bonus out of M&O.
M&O.
So
Okay.
it's a matter of budgeting and planning for it.
Okay, so we have the money.
This point we do, yes.
Okay.
We keep on
For
planning.
3 years from now, we still have the money.
Yeah, we do right now, or we wouldn't be here talking about it. So we had to go to him first and say, well, can we do this?
If we don't have any other questions. No questions, no? Okay. If we can get a motion to approve.
I move that we approve the recruitment and retention incentive as submitted.
Second. Oh,
Roll call?
Ms. Dong.
Yes.
Mr. Taylor.
aye.
Ms. Quintero.
Aye.
Ms. Nunez. Ms. Hernandez.
Aye.
So we're gonna.
And we have executive
I
session.
move that we move to executive session.
I second the motion.
Roll call?
Ms. Dong.
Yes.
Mr. Taylor.
Aye.
Ms. Quintero.
Aye.
Ms. Nunez. Ms. Hernandez.
Aye. executive session. Can I get a motion, right, to approve the executive session?
I move that we approve the appointment of Ricky Torres, the principal at Star Academic High School for the 22-23 school year and be placed on step 17. Can I get a second?
A second.
Roll call.
Ms. Dong?
Yes.
Mr. Taylor?
Aye.
Ms. Quintero?
Aye.
Ms. Nunez? Ms. Hernandez?
Aye.
Congratulations.
Speech? Okay, I'm just kidding.
I move to approve the appointment of Matthew Kraft as the principal of Law Firm Middle School for the 22-23 school year and be placed on step 8. Can I get a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Ms. Dong?
Yes.
Mr. Taylor?
Aye.
Ms. Quintero?
Aye.
Ms. Nunez? Ms. Hernandez?
Aye.
Congratulations. I'm also moving that we approve the appointment of Angelica Encinas as a principal of Sierra 2nd through 8th school for the 22-23 school year and be placed on step 12.
Roll call.
Second.
Roll call.
Yes.
Ms. Dong?
Yes.
Mr. Taylor?
Aye.
Ms. Quintero?
Aye.
Ms. Nunez? Ms. Hernandez?
Aye.
I move that we approve the appointment of Elda Peña.
Peña.
Peña? Okay, because there wasn't the little. Okay. Principal at Santa Clara Elementary School for the 22-23 school year and be placed on step 1.
Second.
Roll call.
Ms. Dong?
Yes.
Mr. Taylor?
Aye.
Ms. Quintero?
Aye.
Ms. Nunez? Ms. Hernandez?
Aye.
I move that we approve the appointment of Juan Carvajal, principal at Rivera Elementary School for the 22-23 school year and be placed on step 1.
Second.
Roll call.
Ms. Dong?
Yes.
Mr. Taylor?
Aye.
Ms. Quintero?
Aye.
Ms. Nunez? Ms. Hernandez?
Aye.
Thank you.
I move that we approve the appointment of Kathy Dong, principal at Gallego Intermediate Fine Arts School for the 22-23 school year and be placed on step 11.
Second.
Roll call.
Ms. Dong?
I recuse myself.
Mr. Taylor?
Aye.
Ms. Quintero?
Aye.
Ms. Nunez? Ms. Hernandez?
Aye.
Congratulations. Last one. I move that we approve the appointment of Maria Montaño as a professional development director for the 22-23 school year and be placed on step 11. Can I get a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Ms. Dong?
Yes.
Mr. Taylor?
Aye.
Ms. Quintero?
Aye.
Ms. Nunez? Ms. Hernandez?
Aye. Congratulations.
Congratulations, Ed.
And do we have any suggestions for future agenda items?
I have one. Can we get an update on what's going on with the SUN program? Okay, cool. Thank you.
Any other suggestions for future agenda items? No. Okay, can I get a motion?
I move that we adjourn.
A second.
Roll call.
Miss Dawn?
Yes.
Mr. Taylor?
Aye.
Miss Quintero?
Aye.
Miss Nunez? Miss Hernandez?
Aye.
Congratulations, everyone.